guys. We are two of the five Giants guys, and we're here to talk about the 2021 draft first prospect, first round pick, Kadarius Toney. Spiro, that was your draft assignment. How'd you feel about the pick? And then would love to hear some fun facts about this cat.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, we can't talk about the pick without talking about what happened prior to the pick. So, you lump in that first and fourth rounder for next year with the Bears looking like they are right now. It could be a beautiful pick.
Could be real nice.
Yeah, but so listen, they didn't like what they saw as soon as Devontae Smith came off the board. They clearly did their homework on Toney. They love what they saw out of him. When they dropped back and the board fell the way that it did, they were all too happy because as soon as their pick was up, they knew who they wanted. The pick was in pretty quickly, and they wanted Toney and they wanted to give Daniel Jones another weapon. And that's what we all wanted, right? Like that's what we all wanted. You could argue whether it was Bateman or Toney at that point, to each their own. In my opinion, Bateman and Kenny G are a lot more similar. We don't have anybody like a
No,
dynamic
we
player like
don't.
Toney on that roster, man.
Not
So
at
this
all.
guy is going to be electric if Jason Garrett could do what he needs to do to get him the ball. And that's the question. But
That's what it's going to come down to.
yeah, there's no
But
denying the man's talent.
what's interesting, I mean, everybody watching that draft was like, the Eagles are taking Smith. It was just so obvious as soon
Mm,
as, and the Cowboys, I can't fault them for what they did
no,
because it
no.
was completely the smart move. They don't need a wide
Yes.
receiver. They had their choice of line, like they had options. They did the right thing, basically. They picked up an
Right.
extra pick
Right.
in the
Smart.
process. And Eagles,
Absolutely.
Eagles pretty much did the right thing too. They were desperate for a top tier wide receiver. So they went and they got their guy. What's interesting is would the Giants have traded back anyway? Should Smith, because leading up to it, I'm like, we have Smith or we have Slater.
Right.
One is going to be there. We're
Right.
set.
Right. Right.
The
Oh,
Giants could have planned to trade back the whole time.
they
They knew
could have.
Chicago was desperate. They took advantage, and we have a 2022 first round pick, which I looked at Chicago's schedule today. I have them winning 4 games.
Rough, dude.
It's
And
brutal.
listen, listen, you're either throwing out Andy Dalton, who's Andy Dalton, or you're throwing out a rookie quarterback against this hard schedule. Either proposition is not looking good for them, man.
It's not good, but I'm very excited about Toney.
Oh yes.
It's gonna be very interesting how they use him, how they line him up. I mean, Jason Garrett. The question is, was last year's play calling and scheme, was it so conservative because they wanted to protect Daniel Jones? They knew the line was weak and young with very good defensive fronts. Because there were moments where, like the first Dallas game, all of a sudden
Flashed.
we're creative.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and it wasn't that we didn't know how to throw the ball downfield because against Tampa Bay, Daniel Jones was airing that thing out. He
Fucking it
just
out.
could he
Yep.
just it was his worst game. He was inaccurate. He missed
Right.
Slayton. He missed Shepard on it. Like he had
Shots
touchdowns
were
that he
there though.
left.
The shots were
Shots
there.
were there. So the plays are there.
Mhm.
Now he's got the weapons.
Yep.
You get Saquon back. But Toney, like, how do you see them using him?
Well, I tweeted this out. To your point, we saw the creativity, but he was using the creativity with Evan Engram doing the jet sweeps and end rounds. Shepard, who I love Shepard, but he's not a type of guy that's supposed to be doing those kind of plays. Toney on those kind of plays, the jet sweeps and the reverses. I don't care what the blocking is. He's going to make three people miss, and
It's a
he
good point.
explodes, man. Like so, there's going to be plays where that reverse looks like it's going to be in trouble, and he's going to turn into 10 yards every time. It's just like, how does he
That-
do it?
That's a
He
really good
always
point.
makes the first man miss,
The
which is
plays were
beautiful.
drawn up. You were using the wrong people. You had the
Right,
wrong ingredients.
right,
Ingram is straight line speed against a linebacker.
mhm,
That's where he's dangerous. You put
right,
him in the back. You can't put him 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage
right. It
and,
doesn't
and
work,
expect him
man.
to make something happen. But now he's got the right weapons.
The
Tony
tools,
he can return kicks. He can return punts or kicks.
just dynamic.
And he kind of plays like get the F off me. Like
Yes.
he plays like real tough, real hard. And he was a name that I heard a bunch. I had some other Giants fans texting me afterwards or calling me drunk from the bar. And they were pissed. They were like, Daniel Jones isn't gonna have time to throw it. What a waste
Yeah.
of a pick. Have you ever even heard of this guy? I'm like, of course I freaking heard of this guy. Like,
If you did your homework,
right. Like you guys don't do what I do. So, I know that you want an offensive lineman, but that brings up other questions on the O line, which we're going to put out. Giants guys are going to do an episode We're recording this on a Monday. Tuesday night we're recording, so that'll be out Wednesday, where we kind of dive into the whole draft and we'll
For
talk
sure.
about everything. But Toney is exciting. It's a weapon, even though they got Kenny Galladay. Very smart to go get this kid because you have Shepard, who I think this is his last year in Big Blue,
Right, it might be on the
for
wall,
better or
man.
worse. He was a good Giant. I think we liked him. He had concussions, injury concerns, but we know what he is at this point. He's
Right.
not a game breaker. He's a good slot receiver.
Right.
Right. And when he can move the chains, he's reliable in terms of making plays, but he's not otherworldly. You know, he's not a guy you're committing to until he's 35 years old. Like, thank you for your service.
We love him.
We're getting young. And like Toney is a sign that like the Gettleman and Judge are kind of seeing this team the way we are too.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We're going and getting Kenny Galladay and Adoree Jackson's like, thank you. Like you're complete. You're starting to round out this roster now. And then the glaring hole is offensive line. But Toney brings a different kind of weapon to this team.
And I think you'll like this little comparison here. But Toney gives me Cruz vibes, man. Like the shiftiness, the make people miss. Faster Cruz, a faster Cruz. If you could just put that in your mind. The best part is, yes, he's 22, and that might seem a little bit older for some prospects, but he's just scratching the surface of what he could do at wide receiver, man. He was a quarterback. He went to Florida as a quarterback.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, like he's learning the nuances of route running, and he's still making these plays. He was a gadget player for the first 3 years, and everybody's knocking the pick because he was only his only production was senior year.
He had 13 starts,
he's
right?
worked his way to that. They were using him differently. He was a quarterback. Like, are you going to knock like Edelman for what he did before he became a stud wide receiver? No, these guys, the way it worked, he had a slow progression, and then his senior year exploded when he was used the way he was needed to be used. And Dan Mullen at Florida knew how to use him, and you saw the repercussions of it, man. He exploded into a top 20 wide receiver, man. And like I said, he's scratching the surface there.
I'm glad you brought that up because him being a former quarterback just opens up a different world too. Not only does he has a faster 40 than Odell. And that shocks me because I think there's football speed and there's like track speed.
For sure.
And I think
track star.
I think Odell had like unbelievable football speed because you never saw him get caught. If the guy had space, he wasn't getting caught. He found space. He knew how to take angles. He did it time and time again. So he's faster. He can throw. So now you're talking about running him in sweeps and stuff. Well, guess what? Now he stops on a dime and boom. So it opens up so much. And I just hope that they use him correctly and get the most out of him. But
Mullen said he had the best arm on the team. As the wide receiver, man.
Did they use him much? Like throwing
they
the ball?
Didn't use him for throwing, but like that is there, man. If you want to get creative, it's there.
It's almost better off that they didn't use him.
Right, it's still hidden. It's underneath.
Maybe other people will forget, but
oh my god, dude! But throw him. Look at when was the last time we threw a wide receiver screen and saw a guy take it to the house? That opens up that part of the playbook, man. Like
it seems to be his bread and butter.
Yeah, like just get the guy the ball, and man, Saquon Barkley and Toney on the same field at the same time. I mean, if you're a defensive coordinator, nightmare stuff there, dude.
Gettleman was on the Fan today, and he was talking about what Toney brings to the offense, and he's like, well, right off the bat, he'll take the top right off you.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, what that means is you can only put 7 guys in the box, and then guess what? We got 26 back there.
Right. Good luck.
It's just right there.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like that changes everything.
Everything.
We didn't even talk about Kenny Galladay.
I know.
Rudolph. Like this team is coming together. And I see this as a playoff team. It has to be a playoff team.
It'd be a disappointment to a lot of people, and jobs will get lost if we don't make the playoffs, man. You hate to say it's like bust time, but like Gettleman has had this time to build it. Daniel Jones it's year 3. You got everything at your fingertips now. Could he use another guard? Yes. But listen, you got to make things work, man. The offense is there for you. Playmakers galore.
Yep.
You have your right tackle, your left tackle, your center. Like, and I still think we're going to add a guard, by the way. Like, for everybody freaking out about the offensive line, there's still cuts to be made.
It's still the offseason.
Calmate.
There's going to be guys brought in. There's going to be competition. Guys will be cut.
Yep.
There will be other guys brought in. And somebody brought brought up a good point. The Giants saved another $1 million by trading back twice because the cost of the players
Good
goes
point.
down as you back up. So
Yep.
that could be
Didn't even think about that.
used
Smart.
towards another guard brought in. So there's other benefits. I mean, it was really a brilliant draft. Like, I'm not going to give it an A+ or something because you
No.
got to see how these guys.
Right.
But as far as being light on your feet and being like, this was not
Huge value.
This was not the Stone Man Dave Gettleman that we're used to. This was like Joe Judge working together with him
Right.
and
Right.
being agile in the draft as things were happening.
It was mind-boggling. When people brought up the trade back to 20, I was like, that's gonna be too far for Gettleman, who's never traded back before. But when you throw in that first rounder, man, and in a draft where it's supposed to be deeper and you're gonna have more tape on all these guys, the value is through the roof, man. It's through the roof.
They found a perfect trade partner.
Right. Right.
You got
Exactly.
a team in transition
Yep.
who has
Yep.
a crappy veteran as a quarterback,
Yes.
a brutal schedule, and then a rookie to replace him. It's a perfect recipe.
And a GM that was desperate to make a move, man. He was
Yeah.
Ryan Pace is desperate to make a move because he's probably gone if this doesn't work either. So,
Yeah.
you take advantage and you hope that the board falls your way. But either way, man, like that first round pick factors into the Toney pick as well. So, I love the player. I love the trade, and it's just there's so much upside to this, man, and it's fun.
One more thing on Toney. A lot of people are saying, well, is he taking Shepard's spot? Is he taking Slayton? I don't see it that way. I see it as they're going to have different formations.
Right.
There's going to be times for, and listen, if they share playing time and they're ultimately more fresh because of it.
Right.
And listen, injuries happen.
How many times you go through a season where the full set of wide receivers make it through every game?
Never.
It just doesn't happen.
It just doesn't happen.
Especially with Shepard, man.
Yeah, exactly. He's one hit away, as we know.
Yeah.
But Kadarius Toney is a giant. He's a great weapon. Happy to have him.
Oh yeah.
And check out Spiro's article on NY Giants Rush.
Please do.
Where he covers him. He does a really good job. Get to know him a little bit more. But round one cover, that's in the books. Pilgrim's Point on Twitter. Mr. Glass Half Full. You
Let's
know him
go.
and love him. Go
Love
Giants.
you guys. Go Giants.